What's up, guys? Jay, Nate, and Pedro here from Extremely Decent Games. Nintendo just wrapped up their conference, so E3 has officially come to an end, and it's time to give our impressions on what we thought of the conference as a whole. Pedro, I'll shoot it to you, man.
I thought the conference was very, very solid. I mean, if you look at what Microsoft and Sony did, I think they held the conference up. Nintendo was a little bit disappointing, but then again, we knew that was what was going to happen. I thought they were going to do more with mobile phones. I did not think they were going to have a half hour of just Pokemon Sun and Moon. They did show enough of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, to entice me to potentially purchase an NX and play the game this year or an NX, a Wii U, and play the game this year as opposed to waiting next year and playing it on the NX, because that gun looked really, really, really good. I think that we saw probably the best video game conference of all time with what Sony put up yesterday. And Microsoft had another year with a very, very solid conference. They announced, they hyped up what's to come in 2017 and have a pretty solid lineup in 2016. The developers, I could take them or leave them, honestly. EA was up and down. Bethesda was okay. And Ubisoft was just boring flat out. So,
yeah, I agree with everything you said there. Ubisoft was pretty flat, yes. Microsoft did very well. I agree with that statement. And yes, I do think that Sony killed it. Now, you made a comment saying, and I totally agree with this comment, that, Sony showed off a lot of cool stuff, but most of it we don't even have release dates for. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, and I made that in conversation after the fact because we were all kind of digesting what we saw.
Trying to scale it back, trying to really analyze it and not get too hype about what we saw, right?
Just trying to find a realistic view of what we did see. And I think, again, it's probably is the best conference of all time because it was just game after game after game after game after game. They stayed out of it. There wasn't much talk from the suits. It was, we're going to show you this game. We're going to give you this demo. We're not going to introduce the developers. They're not going to come and talk about it. They're just going to show us what we want to see. We saw games that we wanted to see from, a new God of War to the release date of The Last Guardian to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, just completely winning everybody in that room over with its gameplay, including Nate, who was not interested in it and now is a little interested from what the gameplay that we saw. VR looked amazing. Batman VR it will probably cause me to purchase this game once I find out more about it. I will probably spend the $400 on the PSVR just to be able to experience Batman in virtual reality. They did not announce anything console-wise. They did not announce a Slim. They did not announce a price cut. They don't need to. But if they were going to go with the Neo at E3, I think they would have needed to announce a price cut and a slimmer console just to kind of offset that. I think that they played it. They did what they needed to do to get the hype level rising for current PS4 owners and people who are looking to purchase within the next couple months. But again, we only got release dates for a couple of games. There was no Kingdom Hearts 3. There was no Final Fantasy 7. We don't know when the Kojima game's coming out. We don't know when.
No time soon.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know when Days End is coming out. We don't know.
The thing about Days End is that game's been in development for 5 years. So I would have to imagine that. Let's say that's probably going to be an October game next year. I'm going to speculate, pure speculation.
But
I'm going to put it around that time.
Okay, so how long has The Last Guardian been in development for? 7 years. So that's 2 years less than The Last Guardian, and The Last Guardian has gotten much more flack than Days End. All of a sudden, Days End shows up, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is going to be it. This is the next big thing for Sony." But we haven't gotten a release date yet. What else didn't get a release date? Detroit didn't get a release date, I don't think.
No, we didn't get a release date. What about Final Fantasy or not Final Fantasy?
Resident Evil got one.
Yeah.
That got one for next year.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Just a window, right?
Yeah, I think it's a release window that it got. The demo is out. Haven't been able to download it. A couple people have online. I don't know how they were able to download it, but I'm super excited to play that. So look for a Let's Play on that very, very soon. Nate, how did you feel about this E3?
I thought it was pretty good. Sony definitely gave me everything I wanted to see, so I was not disappointed there at all. In fact, they kind of exceeded some of my expectations for the year. Microsoft, I thought, did pretty well too. I mean, the new consoles look pretty good. They look awesome. It gives me some incentive to think about getting an Xbox One now. And Nintendo, well, we knew what that was going to be like, and
it was worse than I could have imagined, bro.
It was a little bit worse than I thought it was going to be too, and of course, one of my predictions was disappointment from Nintendo. But with that being said,
you made that point.
I did like what I saw from Pokemon. I like what they're doing with the game. I'm excited about that, and Zelda looks phenomenal. It's hands down my favorite game of E3. So
yeah, you said Zelda, right?
Zelda, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. It's like, on one hand, Nintendo really let us down, but did they really? Because I mean, we kind of knew going into E3 that, they weren't going to have much to show. They said that NX wasn't going to be there. They said that it was going to be very Zelda focused, and they didn't lie there. And I think Zelda is one of the best games that was shown. So it's like one of those things where, yes, they had a terrible conference, but at least if they wouldn't have had Zelda to show off, if they would have just made that an NX release, then there was no reason for them to be here. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't need to come whatsoever. But yes, Zelda was probably about my second or third favorite game scene, way high up on the list. There were so many good games that were shown. My favorite things were, surprisingly, that God of War trailer and the gameplay footage that they showed. It caught me off guard because I said to you guys, right as we were going into the Sony conference, that I didn't care for a God of War game. Like, I've never played them in the past, never cared for them. But then we saw this gameplay footage come out. And I'm like, this is God of War meets The Last of Us. And if you would have told me I would have ever wanted that, I would have called you a liar. But then I saw it firsthand, and just seeing the way Kratos and the kid interacted with each other, it really gave me that Joel and Ellie vibe, and in like all the right ways. That game looks super dope. Days Gone, that's my highlight of E3. I've been asking for that zombie game that really makes you feel terrified. It gives you that claustrophobic feeling. It really makes you feel like the walls are closing in on you. And I mean, that trailer,
the end of that gameplay sequence, I didn't know where he was going to go.
Yeah, like, I mean, this guy walks up a crane, and then 360-degree view pans out, and there's just zombies everywhere. And, I made the comment that these were like the World War Z type of zombies, where they're fast, and they pile up on each other, and they're able to get, past obstructions just by piling themselves on top of each other. And, that to me it's horrific. Like, this is the zombie game that I think we've been waiting years for. This is the zombie game that, in my opinion, Resident Evil was never able to give you that horror. And I am so extremely hyped for the game. It looks beautiful. I like the idea of this this biker who's a mercenary and a murder for hire. Like, I love all of that. So I can't wait to see more on that game. So yeah, that was it for me in a nutshell. Let's do this. Let's rate each manufacturer one by one. So let's go ahead and go with Nintendo. We'll go last and we'll go backwards. So Nintendo, on a scale of A through F.
Oh, we're gonna go the grading scale.
the grading scale. We usually shy away from this.
Jesus
or you
Christ.
can or you know what? Better yet, let's do
let's do decent, somewhat decent, extremely decent. We'll do it that way.
Or not decent, decent,
okay.
or extremely decent.
All right, we'll do that then.
So Nintendo.
I mean, you got to go with decent. You have to go with decent, because Zelda was that good.
Zelda was that good.
I mean, Zelda was that good that you can't say that the entirety of that conference as a whole was not decent. I mean, I'm not interested in Pokemon, so I was not interested in the middle portion of that conference. I know, Nate may be interested in that, but me personally, I am not. So I'm going to go with decent because Zelda was that good to begin.
And get it out of this area down here and kind of put it a little bit up here. So
yeah, definitely.
Nate, what about you?
I have to go with decent as well. Only because I'm not going to really compare them to the other conferences. If you compare them to Microsoft and Sony, it's not decent at all. I mean, 2 games and, one of them we already knew a lot about. I don't know, but we'll say decent because I really did like what I saw with what they're doing with Pokemon, and the new Zelda just looks fabulous.
Yeah, I thought for me, the conference was not decent, right? Like the presentation of it, like it was terrible. They showed off way too much Pokemon. You really have to like Pokemon to have gotten anything from that. And even if you were a Pokemon fan, which Nate, you are, was it not terrible the way it was being shown?
Yeah, the format was not good.
Yeah. So the only thing that will pull it up out of the slums is the Zelda footage that they showed, but we still don't have a release date. Had they have given me a release date for Zelda, maybe I would have put it more into the decent realm, but there wasn't that much takeaway from that conference at all. All we got was more gameplay footage of a game that we already knew was coming. We were hoping to find out when it was coming, but then they didn't drop it. They didn't give us a date, which I don't know what the hesitation is there. I don't know what the hang-up is. So I'm going to say not decent.
Okay. That's understandable.
Yeah. So Pedro, Microsoft conference. Let's go Microsoft.
I thought that was extremely decent. I think that they did what they had to do. They showed off Gears of War off the top. They gave us a new console, the S, which will run games better. So it'll give you more frame rate, better graphics, has more room, is 40% smaller, comes with a better controller with the nice texture on the back for the grips.
The upgradable controller.
Oh man, the
build it yourself.
Yeah, the customizable controller. It's kind of like Moto Maker when you get a Motorola phone where you can change the colors or whatever and have it shipped to you.
And like I was saying, when it comes to that, what would be cool is if they can get licensing to where you can put your favorite college football team or like your favorite game, like
Gators controller or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
that'd be sick. You can get it monogrammed with your gamer tag as well.
Oh, that was sick.
So I mean, it remains to be seen how long the shipping is and how much that customization is going to cost. But I definitely will probably have one or two, maybe one in Broncos color and then another one in a Knicks color. The Gears of War Special Edition Elite controller looked amazing.
That looked good.
In terms of games,
what do those Elite controllers cost? Are they $150?
They're about $150. But
so I wonder that one's going to be more since it's got that aesthetic to it. Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, they are fully customizable though, so you can change like the triggers and.
Would you ever spend $150 on a controller?
If I was into competitive gaming, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But not right now because I'm not into competitive gaming. Speaking of competitive gaming, though, that is one of the features that they are going to add to the Xbox Live. Is going to be Arena for Xbox Live, which is going to be tournaments that are going to be sponsored by game developers. You're going to see different games like Smite. I think they showed Halo, they showed Gears of War. So you're going to have actual tournaments. So should extremely decent games want to represent the Xbox community in Gears of War, whatever the case may be, in $1 million tournament, we can do so through Microsoft now, which is super cool. Cortana coming to Microsoft is the best thing to happen to anybody that bought a Kinect. I have the preview. I'm using the preview beta right now, and it is super smooth, super fluid. It's kind of like using an Amazon Echo. If anyone has an Amazon Echo out there, it just adds much more value to the console with that. Games wise, I mean, they showed some great games. State of Decay 2 is coming out soon. We've got Dead Rising, a new Dead Rising coming soon. They showed a Tekken.
A lot of people, when it comes to Dead Rising, said that when they showed Days Gone, it was like Dead Rising. Hey, who? What?
Oh, well, I mean, it's totally not the same game.
Though. Yeah, it's totally not. Yeah,
it's like a more arcadey game. But if you're gonna compare the two, Days Gone is definitely the better of the two. I mean, yeah, I think that they did extremely decent.
So it's got your seal of approval
with the end just letting us know, hey, look, Project Scorpio, it's real. It's coming out.
That's all they needed to say. That's all they needed to say.
But the most important thing to take out of that isn't that it's coming, is that it's coming and it has major developer approval. You know what I mean? Like, it's not coming and we decided to make it. It's we asked the developers, what would you want from a home console? Oh, this is what you want? Microsoft is going to make it for you. Make us the games to make this the best console of all time. That, I think, is what's more important than the announcement itself, is that developers went out on a video on stage and said, this is the best console that's ever been made. I'm excited for it. They basically said Fallout 4 for HTC Vive in VR will work with
the developer over there at Bethesda literally gets on camera and says, this is the console that, developers have been asking for, because now we can really push the boundaries of not only, the game itself, but what the game can do in VR. So now Vive, you can play Fallout 4 in Vive, and you're going to need a strong console to push it to the limit. So, that was definitely dope.
Yeah, I think that was super. I think you were looking for a mic drop moment from Microsoft. You say you didn't get one initially. I think after thinking about it, that is probably their mic drop moment. We will know if the console is going to succeed if it's priced right. If it's priced under $650, $700. If they say $499 for this thing, I'll tell you what, those people that are like, well, why should I get a console? I could just get a PC.
Yeah.
If you can get a Vive or Oculus ready PC for under, $600-$700, I mean, come on. You're not gonna get that right now, and you probably won't get that next year. So if they can do that, it's over. Because that's the cheapest way to get into VR.
I kind of worry for all these new consoles that we know are coming next year, because, we had the announcement of Scorpio. We know that the NX is coming next year, and we know that we're getting a PS Neo. So we're going to have 3 brand new consoles coming out all the same year. Like, I wonder who's going to, get everyone's Christmas cash. I wonder what's going to be the console that sells through the holidays?
That's a debate for another day.
Yeah, right. We'll have to hash that one out.
Yeah, we'll definitely need to hash that one out.
So Nate, what about you? What do you think about Microsoft conference?
Having just caught the highlights, I would grade them extremely decent as well. I liked, the support.
No Jade Empire.
No Jade Empire, of course. That might have been wishful thinking, but I did like what I saw from them. The controller thing was really cool. And it's interesting, it was great that they, made those announcements about their upcoming consoles too. So yeah, definitely extremely decent for Microsoft.
Yeah, I agree with the two of you. I thought it was extremely decent. I felt like this is kind of what Microsoft needed to do. They didn't take no pop shots at anybody. They just focused on themselves. They showed off good games. State of Decay 2 is one of my standout games, probably my second favorite game that was shown at E3. The controller, being able to customize it, put the colors you want, that's really cool. We got some new features coming to the console. We got the price drop. We got the slim version, just like you were saying. Scorpio, all the announcements that all these, Xbox games are coming to Windows 10. That's incentive, to go out and build a rig, that was my huge takeaway, is that now I had already planned on building a nice rig next year, and now I can comfortably do it, knowing that I can play Gears of War on it, and I can play a lot of these major, AAA games, on the PC. And if I do choose to get an Xbox One, it can all work in unison, and I'll have no issues whatsoever. So I thought all that was really cool. And yeah, I think that the Scorpio could do really well, especially like you said, since it's going to be Vive compatible and Oculus ready and all that stuff.
Let me ask one question regarding the Microsoft Play Anywhere feature, where essentially what happens is once you buy the game digitally, you can, you own it both on Windows 10 and Xbox One. Or if it's a game like Minecraft Realms, you can play it on iOS or Android as well. So it is available anywhere where you get, connect to Xbox Live, so to speak. Now, I was speaking to, someone outside of Extremely Decent Games, and
why would you?
Why would I? It was probably a mistake, because
Bunch
I did come
peasants.
back. I did come back with a conspiracy theory for you, gentlemen. And since, Mr. Hodge likes to have his third eye open, I'd like to hear his opinion.
Put the third eye on, bro.
Where is it?
All right, so let's
I'd like to hear this, your opinions on this. The person in question stated that this could be a Trojan horse for Microsoft's original plans for DRM, since they're using the Play Anywhere as a scheme to get people to purchase games digitally. How do you guys feel about that? Is Play Anywhere just a Trojan horse feature, to get us to kind of buy into those DRM rules that so many gamers hated when the Xbox One was originally announced?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely incentive, right? If I know that I buy it digitally on my Xbox and it'll carry over to my PC and I won't have to repurchase it, that's definite incentive, especially, now that the consoles have the 2 terabyte hard drives, because that's the only reason in the past that I didn't like buying games digitally, is because I just didn't have the space. But now these new consoles are coming out with bigger, hard drives. And, even with the Xbox One, you can have an external hard drive. So it's not really an issue. And yes, it's definitely incentive. And it is a sneaky way for them to do it, because you got to take care of your retailers and stuff like that. And it's always been that slippery slope where it's okay, if we start getting more into the digital front and less into the physical front, what's going to happen with the partnerships that they have. So this is a sneaky way to do it. And I like the way they're doing it. You know, there is a lot of speculation that if we can start getting like more on a digital front and more people start buying digitally, then the prices of games can come down.
Yeah.
You know, you won't have to pay to ship the game out. You don't have to, you know, have box art and, you know, the plastic containers with, you know, you don't even have to have the games anymore. You know, you literally just download it to the console. So yeah, could be a Trojan horse.
I mean, it sure does look like it. What do you think, Nate?
I hope not. I mean, it probably is, right? But I don't know. I love having physical copies of things, and
this guy's like a troll that lives under the bridge and hoards everything.
And collecting, yeah. So I don't know. The digital only future scares me. So
what if games were cheaper? What if it was $10?
I don't care, because I want the box art. I want an instruction manual. I want a physical copy of the disc that I can hold on to, so that no matter what, I always have that game. So
imagine this, if you will. You pop on your VR headset and you're like, I don't know what game I want to play today. And then the way your games are displayed is like you get to pimp out like this room, if you will, and you can walk up to these bookshelves that have all your digital games, and it looks like a physical copy that in the VR world you could take it, you could open it up and smell it, and then would that work for you? Still no?
A little bit, yeah, I guess. That's an interesting way to do that, yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
I mean,
and VR have like a little hub for like, you know, this is like
a virtual bookshelf or whatever.
Yeah,
that's what Google's doing with their VR. Whenever that releases, where you can actually do that with like YouTube videos and stuff like that too. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Now moving to the last manufacturer, we're going to go with Sony. So what's your thoughts on their conference? I know we all kind of feel the same about them, so I just want to hear it from you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's the best conference ever put on. It was no talking from this, little to no talking from the suits. By the way, their tribute to the situation here in Orlando was very, very heartfelt, much better than what Microsoft did, which was super awkward and like, we're just going to do a quick 30-second. We're with you, Orlando. We're going to have a moment of silence. And then they cut out. And then they came back and started the conference like it was nothing. Same thing with Nintendo. They did the same thing. We're with you, Orlando. Our hearts are with you. We're going to take a quick 10-second. And then the feed went out. And everyone was like, this isn't a moment of silence because there's music playing
right
while you have the we'll be back shortly.
It was definitely heartfelt. I literally told you guys, I was like, man, this guy's gonna make me tear up.
Yeah, so I think that the Sony's tribute to just letting the citizens of Orlando know, and the LBGT community know that they are with them, really did at least it warmed my heart. I don't know if it did for you guys, but I really appreciated that.
And then they continued to warm my heart with these amazing games.
Yeah. Oh no. Once the conference started, the live orchestra.
Oh,
that should not be discounted at all.
It was fun to sit there and speculate because we heard the music and we're all speculating. And I think it was you that said, "Is this God of War?"
This sounds like very
shout
like
out
God
to
of War.
Pedro for calling.
I was like,
calling it.
This is what's gonna happen right now. And then it started off with the child, and then Kratos comes out.
Hold on, just a second.
Okay. Then Kratos comes out of the shadows, and the whole crowd just starts going wild, and it's just like, oh my god. They did extremely decent. I venture to say amazing, but like I said, it's the best one that I've seen from top to bottom. Time management was on point.
Transitions were good.
Transitions were super smooth. They hit on everything. They showed games that people wanted to see. Oh, what has Sony been doing? Oh, this is what they have. They showed the Spider-Man game that was being talked about earlier in the year.
And that was crazy too, because like I said 3 times, I'm like, oh, that's a good way to end a conference, and that's not the way they ended it. And like it was like they kept showing stuff at the end. Like when you thought the conference was over, it wasn't. And I could have sworn they were going to end on Kojima, but they didn't. They're like, oh yeah, here's some gameplay footage, and I was like, Days Gone. I was like, wow. I'm like, incredible, because the whole time I'm sitting there numb to that game when we saw it at the beginning of the conference, and I'm like, God, I wish I could have seen some gameplay footage. And then they ended on that. I'm like, oh
yeah, that was a real mic drop moment right there. And if they would have told us that game will be available January 2017, I think the whole house would have felt.
Yeah, just say 2017.
They didn't give us anything. They didn't give us anything.
Give us a window.
There was nothing for that, and that's my biggest disappointment of Sony's conference. Is that there was that? Okay, so you're show. I'm looking at the menu. The menu looks good. Okay, how long is it going to take to cook? When can I buy this?
Do you think that it has something to do with them like wanting to like get out of way of games and stuff like that? Like they don't know what the NX is going to do, when it's going to launch. Like maybe they're trying to figure out everyone else's moves, get this game ready, get it into cert, get it ready to go, and then they can literally launch it. Because that's a game you don't got to sell, right? Like I would think that you don't need to put a whole lot into marketing. Like you just run a couple ads on some big sports event.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to marketing and things like that, I mean, that game is going to get its fair share. And honestly, why do you want to get out of the way of games when, Days End, games get out of the way of that.
Yeah.
Like you get, I mean, this isn't a Tomb Raider Fallout moment where you're like, damn, man, why would you release it at the same time as Fallout? No. This is a game where everyone else is thinking, when is this game releasing? And I'm going to go around it.
Yeah, definitely. That's my only gripe about Sony's whole conference is that we didn't get those release dates. But before I get into my spiel, Nate, what did you think?
Sony's conference, I would say that it's one of the best that I've seen. They did a great job of keeping me on the edge of my seat my entire time. Every game they showed looked amazing, and whether or not it was my genre or not, I was interested in it and wanted to know more about it. They just had a really great showing this year, and they kind of set the standard for how these conferences should go in the future, I think.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Pedro about how, now that they did so well at this conference, if they just kind of copy and paste what they did here and did the same thing at PSX like later this year, like that'd be totally rad. Like just do that again.
I think we'll see more, PS Vita stuff at PSX as well. But I think that my biggest takeaway from this PlayStation conference wasn't like the PS4 games. It was the fact that they sold me on PSVR.
Yeah,
like it's very difficult to sell someone who's interested in VR and say we know we're underpowered. We know we're not Oculus. We know we're not HTC Vive. We know our games aren't going to look as good, but then come out and say, guys, Resident Evil 7 full game's going to be in VR.
Yeah.
You're going to see Batman in VR. You know what I mean? Like that's wild to me. Like to me, a lot of people were sold on that.
Yeah.
Amazing job.
For sure. And I made the prediction that it would be, heavily focused around VR. And I wouldn't say it was heavily focused. I mean, I would say that it was pretty well focused around VR, but it's not like they threw it in your face. And like a lot of, outlets were kind of trying to forecast how they were going to show off VR because it's not easy to show off. I think they did it the right way. Yeah. They didn't put goofy people up on the stage.
They made their mistake
like strap shit on their head. Like when they were showing off that one game where people are flying around as birds.
Yeah.
What game was that?
That was at the Ubisoft conference.
Yeah. Like that goes to show you why you don't show off VR on stage, because there was 5 people like doing like this. It was so weird to watch, and this is a good transition point. I want to talk about, because we're all pretty optimistic as a whole. Like the conference was really good.
I thought the outlook for the rest of this year and beyond is,
yeah, but it wasn't all good. It wasn't all good. So, Nate, what was one of the things that rubbed you wrong about the conference? Like, what was the worst thing for you?
Out of all of E3?
Yeah.
The most disappointing thing I thought was the Star Trek VR.
Oh, man.
I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and the concept of it seems really cool. Have your friends sit at the bridge of the Enterprise and go on missions. Yeah. Seems awesome, right?
Right.
The presentation, the way the game looks, did not win me over at all. Like,
it looked like a button mashing simulator.
I wouldn't even play that game if it were free.
He literally said it's a new genre. It's a button mashing simulator, guys.
I can see how it would work, but I wouldn't want to play it. Not the way it was presented to me, not the way the graphics look, not the way they showed it. I don't think there's
much to show. It's not really a game per se. Like, to me, the impression that I got from the demo, which was terrible, like you said, is it looked like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
Like, this is, you'll be able to go visit these places in VR. So if you want to be aboard the Starship Enterprise, like, you can do it in VR, but where's the game? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't show a game. They showed like a tech demo on how they're going to use VR.
Yeah.
Like that's how I felt about that. And I agree. It was definitely a low point. It seems like there were a lot of low points when it came to VR, because there's that, and then there's the bird flying crap that I was mentioning. What about you? What's something you didn't like about E3?
My biggest disappointment is the games that didn't show up at E3. We didn't see Crackdown, which was something that everybody wanted to see.
Tell us why you think we didn't see it.
Oh, I think that that game has been pushed back in development to be ready for Scorpio. That game is very ambitious. They want to make sure they get that right, because it is cloud computing. They may have even scrapped the cloud computing from Microsoft Azure as a whole total and said, you know what? No, we're going to make this happen with using the hardware inside Scorpio.
You think it was too complicated to do what they were trying to do? Or?
No, I think that it works, but I think that if you're going to make a console that powerful, and then you're going to make a game that's fully destructible, that has that type of environment, what better way to show the power of the console than have a game that looks that good, that runs that smoothly, but everything is run natively on the console and nothing's on the cloud.
Yeah, and I think it's actually okay that Crackdown wasn't there, because, as gamers, we tend to get genre fatigue, and Microsoft has been putting out a lot of shooters lately. Like, and then with Gears of War coming out, like, I don't think that Crackdown needs to come out right now. I think it would be a perfect holiday release to put out right around the holidays next year, right along Scorpio.
I hope that it is going to come out on Scorpio. I think that I think that they are going to get rid of the, Microsoft Azure processing and say, you know what, everything's going to be processed here on the console, because this is the most powerful console on the planet. And this is what you can do with it. They need that proof of concept game to show every other developer that may have not bought in on the ground floor that this is what you can do with it. Also, we didn't see anything Microsoft, Final Fantasy VII wise. We didn't see anything Kingdom Hearts 3 wise.
Yeah, no Kingdom Hearts again.
I'm really disappointed. I didn't see those games, and I think that does not bode well for the development process. Especially since if they can't even come out and say that they're coming out in 2017, then there's a problem.
Yeah, and even Final Fantasy 15, when we sat there and we watched that demo, we were bored out of our minds. Like, the whole arm of the giant coming back and forth, and the guy just like falling and getting back up, like that demo just didn't do very much to hype me up about that game.
I tell you what, the VR demo though was better than
the VR demo was like, where'd that come from? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like, that was another thing with VR is like, you know, it showed a couple games and a couple things and ways they're using it that none of us saw coming. Like Resident Evil, bro. When they said that you could play that game from beginning to end in VR, that's a mic drop.
Yeah.
That was a mic drop moment. Like, you know, crazy conference.
Yeah, it was wild.
Crazy conference. Anything else we want to hit on?
Your biggest disappointment.
Oh, yes. My biggest disappointment. Oh, my biggest disappointment is something that I really wanted to see from Microsoft, but I knew it was a little bit of a long shot. I was hoping that, you know, they'd allow the Steam library onto their consoles. Now,
you never know.
I was going to say, am I a dreamer for that? You're more embedded in the Microsoft world. Am I dreaming for that?
You never know, man. I mean, with Project Scorpio, they may be, you know, they're blurring the lines between, you know, console and PC, but right. That's part of their goal as a company is to make sure that Xbox and, you know, the Windows team work hand in hand. If Windows is winning, Microsoft is winning. So I would not count that out just yet. But I think if there is any news regarding, you know, a Steam capable application or whatever the case may be for the Xbox, it'll happen when the Scorpio comes out.
Yeah, because to me, like, if they gave me the Scorpio and they gave me that Steam library on the thing, like, forget it, dude. Yeah. Like that is the console of my dreams. Oh. You give me the Elite controller that I can pimp out any way I like it, bro. Like, to me, that is off the chain. Yeah. Looks like we're losing Nate. Anything else we want to wrap up on?
Real quick, what was your biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise for me had to have been the way Call of Duty turned it around. You know what I mean?
That's totally mine too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Oh, where did that come from,
that
bro?
Trailer was trash, but that gameplay though was
the grappling hook, bro.
Oh my God, the grappling hook looked great.
Because they've been trying to do something with shooters lately to kind of speed up the play.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like
jetpacks,
you know, like we've seen every shooter start to use jetpacks.
Yeah.
Oh, Nate's back. Nate, we're just kind of talking about what our biggest surprise was, and we just both agreed that it was the Infinite Warfare, turning it around. Like, the trailer was amazing. We love the grappling hook. Traversal, just it seemed so fun in that game.
The spaceship battles were great.
The spaceship battles were amazing.
Graphically, it was
that in VR or was that not in VR?
I'm not sure, man. See, that's the problem. That's the problem with just going from game to game to game to game to game and not having somebody come in and kind of break it up.
Well, didn't it say
that was also in the montage of VR games? Yeah. So it's like, yeah. Are we going to get space battles in VR? Like, is that going to happen?
Yeah, and maybe even not. Nate is probably one of the people in the world that is least excited about a Call of Duty game. Like, he doesn't play them. He's not a big shooter guy to begin with, but Nate was literally sitting right next to me, super stoked from what he's seen on camera. Am I wrong?
You're definitely right. I was really blown away by how ingenious the idea of using the grapple was in a zero-G environment. That gameplay mechanic in itself was enough to get me excited about that game, let alone, you know, space battles and all that stuff. Being able to like fly a jet in outer space is another thing that I love to do in video games. So yeah, they really did a good job of impressing me with their gameplay.
Yeah, how cool was it when he jumped out of the cockpit of the jet and just jumped on to that ship, and he just started like kicking bitches in the face and like just it was so savage.
Yeah.
And
it was dope.
And it was so fluid. Like when he grapples the guy, pulls him to him, and he kicks him, and like, dude, that was incredible. So way to turn it around, Infinity Ward. If anyone's gonna do it, it's these guys.
Oh my God! See, I am no longer just buying this game just to get Modern Warfare.
But let's speak on that, because we got to see some of that.
That game looked amazing as well. I mean, I was very nostalgic, and you know what? The fact that it looks so good in HD. it brought me back to when we were playing it originally, and we were like, my God, these are the best graphics out in the market right now. So I'm glad that it was remastered, and I think they did a good job. They handled it with care. I'm super excited to play that. Comes with 10 maps. But this Infinite Warfare campaign, I don't know, man. I thought people are sleeping on that.
They are.
I think that might be the highlight of the entire game.
Going into E3, there was this big talk about how Infinity Ward would turn it around because Battlefield, like when you looked at the likes to dislikes ratio on YouTube for the two trailers, like it was like one way, bro.
Oh, everyone thought that Call of Duty was done. They were like, this is the end of Call of Duty.
I think Call of Duty ended up hitting the most dislikes in history.
Yeah.
Beating out Ghostbusters, which that's hard to do because that game looks, or that movie looks atrocious. Sorry, but yeah, good on them for turning that around. Anything else you guys want to hit on E3 related, man? There's a lot of stuff shown. Are we missing anything?
I think we got a pretty good overview.
Yeah.
I mean,
EA continued to do what EA does.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Titanfall 2 looks dope.
Yeah.
The month of October is going to be wild.
Yeah, October's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be, The Last Guardian is coming out. You got Gears of War. You got Battlefield 1. You got Titanfall 2. The month of October, people may be spending, $300-$400 on video games.
I know. I know. And this is considered to be a little bit of a slower E3 in terms of, announcements and stuff. And look at how much stuff got pushed into next year.
Next E3 is going to be bananas, bro.
3 new consoles, like VR, out in the wild, games being made for it. Because you can consider those consoles in themselves.
Yeah.
So, looking hype for next year. But this year was really good. Yeah. I think we all agree.
I'm super excited for what's to come this year. I'm gonna have to go ask for a raise at work.
Yeah, right.
All these games.
Yeah, all these dang VR headsets, and then we got to start saving for these consoles next year. So.
Yeah, I know it's tough. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now, man.
Yeah. Now that Nate's back with us, Nate, you got any closing statements you wanted to say E3 wise?
No, I think I'm good.
He's good to go. All right, well, everyone, thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out our Reacts video. Us here at Extremely Decent Games, we do podcasts every week. We're going to start trying to get them out, on a regular basis every Saturday. So Saturday morning, sometime in the morning, we should be on streaming. So come check us out. Hit the like button, give us a sub, help the small content creators out here trying to make it. We're going to do everything we can to get better each and every week. And, we're humbled to be able to do this. And anything from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Check us out, facebook.com/groups/extremely decent games. Join there. We're talking about video games. We're a small group of individuals who are obsessed about gaming. We talk about it day and night. So if you are looking for a place to speak about video games, check us out.
Nate.
Yep. Sorry, I've got maintenance people in my apartment, so I'm paying attention to them at the same time. Right, but it was a good show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Later.
Have an extremely decent week.